Hey guys, welcome to Unbiased Rugby. So obviously I'm going to be talking week 3, Springboks versus the Wallabies, the game of the desperate teams. I think both teams are going to be extremely desperate to carve out a victory this weekend. Both sides are desperate. That's all I can say, is that they're super desperate to win this game. I know that there's been quite a few changes on both sides. If I look at the Wallabies, I know that they have Bernard Foley's gone down to the bench, and Beale's going to obviously take over at number 10. I'm not 100% sure about that. Beale hasn't played 10 this whole season. No, take nothing wrong from Beale. I think he's an exceptional player. But yeah, I've got to see how that's going to pan out. If I look at the rest of the side, most of it looks fairly much the same. Israel Folau's back, which is great. It's nice to see him back at playing again. I did think his injury would be a lot worse than what it was, but I don't think he's going to play the full game. I'm sure somebody's going to be replacing him in the 40th minute, round about there. But I think the big changes are going to be on the Springbok side. I know that Rossi was saying that he was going to do some wholesale changes coming for this test, but some of them just seem quite out there. So the big one that I see at the moment, I'm looking at the team sheet here, is Bongi and Benambi is replacing Malcolm Marx. So Malcolm Marx is going to be on the bench, which if I go on, let me go through all the other changes first. Then we have got Pieter-Steph du Toit, who's replacing Francois Louw. Francois Louw is moving down to the bench. I must admit, Francois Louw hasn't lit the world on fire for these last 2 tests, and Pieter-Steph du Toit just has an exceptional engine, and I think him and Franco Mostert are exceptionally fit players. So I just think it gives you seriously 3 proper line-out options, even with Warren Whiteley, a 4th line-out option. So I think from that point of view, I think it's great. The only thing I don't see is we don't have an out-and-out fetcher for to go up against Pocock, who I honestly feel is probably the best flank, but I think he is playing 8th man this week. But I still think Pocock is probably Australia's best player, and they don't have an out-and-out fetcher, because I'm looking. I know Pieter-Steph's more impact kind of player. Warren White maybe. Siya Kolisi, I know Siya Kolisi is much better at the counter ruck and that kind of player, so I think the breakdown is going to be a lot more difficult, especially with Malcolm Marx on the bench. Tendai's moved to the bench. Stephen Kitshoff's going to come through. So it's literally a Stormers front row. We've got a Stormer in the next row with Franco Mostert from the Lions. Siya Kolisi's a Stormer. Pieter-Steph du Toit's a Stormer. It just seems like the whole pack's full of Stormer players. I must do another show about that. But let's go through the back line. Then we've got Faf de Klerk going up against Will Genia. I think Will Genia is. I think he's got a lot more experience on his side, but I think Faf just has that. I don't know. He's just like a real live wire, and I think he's been a real injection of pace and decision making for the Springboks. Then the big one, Elton Yankees at 10. Let's hope it's a sunny day, it's dry underfoot. Let's hope somebody's taught him not to sit so deep in the pocket, because it just becomes very, very one-dimensional, and you know exactly what he's going to be doing. So hopefully he's a lot closer to the advantage line, and he can take that ball a lot closer to it and get the opposition to make decisions, force the opposition to make decisions, as opposed to you giving them all the time in the world. Then the other big one is De Allende and Creel at the centre pairing. I think De Allende had a very, very good Super Rugby season, but he still hasn't rocked the world for me as a Springbok yet. Last year in that Ireland test, when he kicked that ball and we lost that game drastically, it was just the worst decision you could have done at that time, and that's what happened. Jesse Creel, I think last year his lines weren't very good, but I think under John Mitchell he learned to straighten up, He's become a really, really good player. I think he's probably our best 13. I'd say better than Arm. Even they're different kind of players, and it's a different kind of combination. So, but I still think Jesse Kriel it's not everyone's favourite, but I still think Jesse Kriel is our best 13. Then we've got the same wingers, Makazole Mpimpi and Afia Dewanti. So I think that's great for consistency. I think they're coming up for their 5th test, which is not Makazole but Dewanti. I think it's his 6th test, must be his 6th test, and so that's excellent. So I'm hoping by the end of the Rugby Championships you'll have just short of 10 by next year's World Cup. Hopefully we're talking 18, 20, 18 or 15 to 18 caps, which would be excellent for that. And then we have Willie le Roux in the back. The one thing, Willie le Roux didn't have a great game last week. Yeah, he's one of those kind of players. He can be quite polarizing. When he's on, he's just exceptional, and when he's off, he's off. But I think he's gonna, because he normally comes up quite quickly, and maybe it's going to be more that Yankees will go further back. Once the ball's gone forward, he'll go further back, and Willie le Roux form part of the line, which is great. But then the next thing is the bench. Looking at this bench, I'd say it's probably after the All Blacks bench, I'd probably say that this is probably one of the strongest benches. Just thinking, I've got a feeling that at the 45th minute, we're going to have a change of front row, so we'll have Malcolm Marx, Tendai and Wilco coming on. I think going on the past experience of what the Wallabies have been, they play super hard for the first 40-50 minutes, and then they seem to tire, and that's the perfect time to bring in some serious impact players, and I can't think of any better impact player than Malcolm Marx. Archie Snyman, I think, is an exceptional footballer. Francois Lowe, I don't know, he just hasn't lit the world on fire. Nice to see Embrus Papi getting another run, Andre Pollard, just in case something goes wrong. And then the big one, Cheslin Colby, first international debutant, international player, South African international player that's a debutant for the Springboks. So it'd be great to see if he gets a run on, because he brings something different to the side. It's the same as like Neil Scudder brings something different as opposed to Ricky Ioane and Wasaki Nahola. He brings something just that little bit different, and maybe you just need that little bit different on the day. Coming back to my scores on Super Brew, okay, as you all know, I probably would have chosen, I'm never going to choose Australia to win, but I put South Africa to win by a converted try. But I think this game is going to be won in the second half, and it's going to be all about if this Boks can, from a Bok point of view, for the Boks to win, they need to hold out the Australians in the first 40 minutes. The Australians know how to score tries left, right and centre. On past history, the Boks don't know how to defend. So if they can limit the amount of tries that the Australians can score in the first 40 minutes, then there's a chance for the impact players and the way that the Boks come back in the last 40 minutes to come back into the game. But it's all going to be about limiting the amount of points that Australia score. And then from an Australian point of view, they need to score as many points as they can in the first half, and try to defend those points in the second half. That's how I see this game panning out. But let's go look at the coaches. I still don't think, regardless if Australia lose, I did say on my show on Monday that Checo may go if they lose against the Boks, because it is the 5th side losing against the 7th side. And literally, if the Wallabies lost to the Springboks at home, they'd literally swap positions. So Australia would drop down to 7th and South Africa would be up to 5th. So it would be the lowest that Australia's ever been. So I just wouldn't see them replacing the coach this close out to a World Cup. And then who would they get? Maybe they can go get John Mitchell. He seems to change quite a bit. So maybe they can pay England for £400,000 or whatever to go buy John Mitchell. But yeah, I think it's going to be a game of the two desperates. They're both desperate to get their rugby championship back online. They're both desperate to get their team structures in place. They're both desperate for the win. But yeah, looking at it, let's be honest. Australia have lost. They've lost to the 1 and 2 team in the world. So on paper they should be a better team, and they are 5th ranked. South Africa lost to Argentina, which was 11th at that point. Now they're 9th. So yeah, I don't know. On my show on Monday, I was asked, and I just couldn't predict it. It was too tough. But I've got to do something in my Super Brew, so I've said the Springboks to win by 7 points. But listen, guys, please put your scores down below of what you think it's going to be, because I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be highly entertaining, and I think it's going to be it's probably going to be the game of the day. And so yeah, let's see what happens. Put your scores down below. Please like my video if you like it. Please share it if you can. I do appreciate it, and I really have appreciated all the subs that I've got in the last couple of weeks. It's really great that the channel seems to be growing and people are really enjoying the videos. But I really appreciate it if you put comments down below. You can tell me I'm an idiot or whatever, and then hopefully once Gordon and I have watched the videos, we can do the after show on Sunday. I also have to say that I'm pretty stuffed at the moment. I've started exercising again, trying to get back into for a summer body for the new year, and I'm seriously unfit. And but I've always thought, I can't really complain about the Wallabies and the Springboks and all of this fitness if I'm not fit, if I'm like a huge big blimp. So yeah, I'm just trying this new thing with my wife, and try exercise and see if we can healthy and fit for summer. But listen, guys, I hope you have a great weekend of rugby, and I hope you have a great weekend in general. Chat soon. Bye.